morning in San Francisco. I'm starting to like the early morning better than any other times of the day here. Something weird is happening. Something a little slightly alarming. September 23rd has come and passed, and I'm still here, apparently, which is very strange. Probably Earth exploded and we got teleportated back to another we got transported back into another simulation. In fact, this probably happens every day without us knowing, without us really realizing it. Earth gets destroyed and we get moseyed along into another I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. Just teasing. It's too early for me to be making jokes or to be awake or to be talking or to be in the car. I shouldn't be in the car. I should just start walking. I should just strap a sign to my back that says Uber person carrier for hire. $30 an hour. I could develop more intimate relationships with my clients. I would get stronger. I wouldn't be developing the butt problems that I am. And yeah, what's not to like about that? I wouldn't have to deal with the car. I could just give it away. Whew. So in other news, is there other news? I don't know. What a sleep-addled brain does to you. No sleep-addled brain. How's everybody doing in the internet? And the baby hive mind. How's everybody doing in that? Yeah, Max Egan, I was listening to his talk. And when he mentioned that the internet is like a baby mind being born, and we're the nodes, each individual user is essentially a neural node, a neuron, if you will. I remember back to when I was at holotropic breathwork, I was mentioning that concept to somebody else, which I of course coined myself and came up with myself. I'm just kidding. Not really though. But anyway, it is like a giant brain. The internet is a giant brain, and it's the tool or conduit through which Alice is coming to life. And Max in his talk, we can spin it any way at all times. We can always spin it anyway. We can spin the story anyway at all times. The way he spun it in his hour-and-a-half talk was a little bit on the darkish side, because humans are a little bit with their heads in the sand, like always. The Internet of Things and how this smart network is going to be ultimately used for nefarious goals and ends. My brother and my friend actually will be installing your Internet of Things. They're AT&T installers, so they know all about it, and they don't seem to be worried too terribly much. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't be worried, because worrying is very helpful. We should worry a lot. We should always worry. So essentially, here's the problem. All of your devices are going to be talking to each other. That's the problem. There's nanotechnology already everywhere. In the water, in the food, in the trees, in the soil, in the air, in the chemtrails. Nanotechnology everywhere. So essentially, somebody could press a button and probably the whole atmosphere could turn into a firebomb if they wanted to. And this is very scary, right? Very scary stuff. So all of our things are talking to each other. The refrigerator is talking to the house, is talking to the car, which is talking to your left earlobe, which is for some reason not talking to your brain because you don't need to hear anymore, because all of your individual neurons have been hooked up to all of the Internet of Things, and now you receive all of this information mentally, so you don't even need ears anymore. Why would you need ears if you already know exactly what's happening? Because sounds are supposed to inform you of what's happening. If you already know what's happening, you don't need to hear anymore, do you? Nope. So my car's tire tread is speaking to the horn, which is speaking to the windshield, which is complaining about bugs. And then somehow all that information gets on over to the air freshener, which is hanging from the mirror. And the windshield tries to tell the air freshener to tell the driver to refill the sudsy stuff, the soapy suds that helps clean it off. But the message doesn't get delivered to the driver because his ears don't work anymore. And he turned off his mental. Internet of Things. Too early. I shouldn't be talking or thinking or doing anything, or I shouldn't be alive for that matter. I'm supposed to be dead apparently. But somehow I keep managing to not be dead, even though lots of world-ending cataclysmic events have happened from the beginning of time. Somehow I managed to stay here through all of it. I don't really know how. Maybe it's because I don't know about it. Maybe if I got all wrapped up in it and placed myself properly, I could die like I'm supposed to. But I don't ever do that. So I just hear some things on Facebook, or the Internet of Things tells me something, and I ignore it. And then another day comes, and I get to chase after money again. So the life is exciting. Good things are happening. finding money is exciting. It's very fun. I just need to be more creative in my finding of the money, because then I wouldn't be so bored and angry all the time. Food for thought. What would happen if you're trying to like reverse engineer this back to your brain. So if the Internet of Things, no, okay, if the Earth is trying to develop a brain via the internet, and all of her children, or us, are individual neurons that are learning how to communicate through one another, to one another through the internet, okay? And if the end goal is that eventually there's a fully functioning Earth brain composed of all of the individual humans that have iPhones and tablets attached to them, how would that relate back to the individual human? Because of course, as below, so above. So that analogy would, of course, ensure that your own brain had been formulated in a similar way, i.e. your neurons weren't talking to each other, they were just sitting around and you were being a lump on the log and doing absolutely nothing and probably didn't even know you existed. And then all of a sudden your eyes popped open and you're like, holy fuck. My neurons are talking to each other. Finally. And then you gotta go clean house after that, because you'll probably find that your neurons have been doing lots of stuff without asking you. You know? So that's a very perfect example of what happens when you wake up too early and get on the iPhone and start talking when you shouldn't. I guess I'll stop being sleepy at some moment, but TBD. Anywho, hope everybody's doing well, as always. Oh, yeah. Interesting thing that Max said was that your refrigerator can now report you to the police if you're consorting with, your roommate about weed deliverables in an area where weed is still highly, highly illegal and highly dangerous to the human and the human mind and everything, because the FBI want to protect you from that. Okay, and then you need to arrange your next deal. Well, your refrigerator is basically going to call the police and tell them what's going on, because now it has your voice and everything, and it has records of all of your plans. So your refrigerator just basically calls the police, rats you out, gets some sort of those commercials where it's like, oh, unlicensed software, tell us about it and you'll get money for it. We won't tell anybody who you are. So your refrigerator basically struck up a bargain with the police, with the policy enforcers, and then your refrigerator told them what you said, because your refrigerator has perfect voice records of everything that you said, and then the police come and basically put you somewhere else. So they'll take you and they'll remove you from one location and they'll put you in a different location with probably less ideal housing situation, and possibly not the same kind of food that you used to like, and you might have a roommate or something. So that can happen if you don't watch out. Your fridge will tell on you and stuff. Or your car will. Like, you know, when I was younger, that used to be a thing, like, don't snitch, you know, don't rat on each other, don't tell on each other, like, work it out with yourselves. But now, you know, the fridge is telling on you, or is encouraged to tell on you, because it's gonna get, like, an upgrade in insulation or something. And apparently the fridge doesn't have any like loyalty anymore, because basically you don't provide the correct maintenance for the fridge anyway. Like, you're not doing what you're supposed to for the fridge, you're not like taking care of it basically. So the fridge doesn't give a shit, and the state is providing everything for the fridge anyway. So it's not really snitching, it's just basically telling the state what it already knew, and that's that you're an asshole and it doesn't want to be living with you anymore. So you see, it's not all bad. It's not the worst thing ever. Could be worse, I guess. Could be worse. Good morning.